Hey everybody, greetings from Under the Stairs Brewing Company. This is Sam. As you can see behind me, winter seems to be on the way out and spring seems to be just around the corner. Sun's trying to come out and for some strange reason I can't find my sunglasses. It's a little bright out here today. So that being said, I've been just getting over a bit of a cold. No better way to get over a bit of a cold, a little taste of the naughty redhead. Oh, and she's a lovely drop. She's hoppy on the front and it's a nice malty finish, a little bit of hops on the back end, and I'm digging that beer. So seeing as it's spring break in Ontario starting Monday for all the public school kids, high school kids, whatnot, and to coincide as well with the instructional brewing beer from a can, full extract kit, I thought it appropriate to make a Mexican cerveza. So we're going to do a Cooper's Mexican cerveza. This kit I've never made before, but it's also to coincide with us brewing, like I said, brewing a batch of beer right from the can, following the instructions from the can without adding anything other than what was suggested on the can. So, that being said, let's get to making some beer. So, we'll see you in a bit. Okay, so now what we've done is I've had the beer kit heating up on a little bit of water on the stove for about 5-10 minutes just to allow things to flow a little better. As you see, I've also put my can opener in there as well just to give it a little bit of sanitation and make sure that's nice and clean. So this kit calls for a kilogram of Cooper's Brew Enhancer 2. My homebrew store didn't have it, so I picked up some Brew Enhancer 1, which is basically dextrose and some maltodextrin. And then here I've also got another 250 grams of dextrose. Should bring me up to about 5% roughly. So now what we're going to do, we're going to crack open the can, add it into our sanitized fermenter, and we'll go from there. Okay guys, welcome to the other side of the brewery, also known as the laundry room. So then here's my fermentation bucket. I've had this soaking for a few minutes. You can see the lid, just got to give that a bit of a rinse. And then here I've got my stirring spoon and my fermentation log. Now, what about the stuff you see on the bottom, with this being a rinseable sanitizer, basically want to fill it up. Well, not fill up the whole thing, but you mix up your sanitizer as per instructions on the side of the bottle, whichever one you use. Add everything you want to your bucket. I find putting the lid on, snapping it down, putting a carboy bung in there if you can, or just put your hand on top. Give it a really good shake. Let it sit for a little bit. Come back, let it shake again, shake it again, and then give it a really good rinse. As I've had no issues whatsoever. So, being said, we're going to clear this out. And meet back over at the brewing bench. We start putting our batch of beer together. Okay guys, so now that we've got the wort all warmed through, I've taken the liberty of opening it up with the can opener. And now, the object is to, well, first have a sip. Cheers. I'm going to add it to our fermentation bucket here. So I've got 1 liter of boiled water here. I just like to use boiling water or super hot tap water if you can get it, or boiling water. I've done both ways and I've never had any problems with sanitation or off flavors or anything. So take it as you leave it, or take it as you like it, I should say, and whatever works best for you guys. Okay, so this is fully sanitized, rinsed out as we did in the sink before. That goes there. Now we're going to don our courtesy of my lovely wife, our wort transfer mitts, aka oven mitts. Okay, that's where it gets a little tricky, so be careful, try not to burn yourself. I recommend having oven mitts. Oh, lovely. Okay, just let all that tasty goodness get all in there. Now, that's where it gets a little fun, where I like to use the boiling water, 1 liter here, to fill up the can. That's going to help dissolve any residuals that are left there. Because we want to make sure we get as much as we can. So I'm going to do this a couple more times and clean out the can and add it to the bucket. We'll be adding some sugar and finishing off our beer. So we'll see you in a couple minutes. Okay, so now we've got can cleaned out. Read them as best you can. And bear in mind, guys, this is brewing beer. It's not rocket science. It's fairly straightforward stuff. In our bucket, we've got our hot wort now. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to add all of our sugars and our fermentables, which is the Brew Enhancer 1, as well as 250 grams of the dextrose. So we'll get that in, and we'll, before I do that though, I'm going to go get my spoon sitting in the sanitizer. So give me 1 second. Okay, so now we've got our spoon in our fermentation bucket. I'm going to go add our sugars. Okay, so now we got our dextrose in there. We're going to give that a stir, make sure everything's nice and dissolved. And at this stage, you can be really, really aggressive with your stirring. You want to incorporate some oxygen into the wort, as our yeast needs a little bit of oxygen to get going here. All right, so now we're going to add our Brew Enhancer 2. Now this is a kilogram. It comes in 1 kilogram bags. Dump her all in, everybody into the pool. And again, it's simply a matter of just stirring it, making sure everything's all incorporated. So this is fairly self-explanatory, you guys. Now, I'm going to stir this for a bit. I'm going to add, top up my bucket to 23 liters. And then we'll get ready to take a temperature measurement and pitch the yeast. So I'll see when I've got everything ready to go. Okay, so we're filled up to the 23 liter mark on the bucket. Everything's nicely incorporated. Taking a temperature reading, and we're sitting at the high side of the spectrum, but I mean, honestly, the Cooper's yeast here is so bulletproof. I mean, I've pitched, you know, as low as 20 degrees and as high as 26, 27, and I've never had any issues. Sorry about that, camera issue. So now we're just going to pitch our yeast, and then we're going to sprinkle it all over. Nice even distribution. Now, this is where there's two trains of thought on how to incorporate your yeast. I mean, with a kit, it comes in the sachets. Now you can do it a couple ways. You can gently add your yeast and stir it in. Just make sure all the yeast gets incorporated. I prefer to just give it a really good stir. That way I know that I'm incorporating the yeast as much as I can from top to bottom. There's enough sugar in there that everything's going to be okay. So, the one thing I forgot to do is I forgot to take a hydrometer reading. So, I'm going to estimate that this beer is going to be between 4.5% and 5%. I will take a hydrometer reading at the end of the first week, and we're going to go from there. Give us a better idea. I know how much roughly sugar's gone in there and how much water's gone in there in the kit, and give me a rough idea. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, that is how you make a batch of beer. Okay, so we're going to put our lid on, secure it in place, put our fermentation lock in the hole, and we'll wrap up in a couple seconds. Okay guys, so that's how you do it. That's how you make a batch of beer out of a can. Less than half an hour, give or take, roughly. Can kit was on sale for $16. The Brew Enhancer 1 was about $10, so $26. Plus a third of a kilo, just under, well, less than a kilo. A kilo of corn sugar goes for $2.49 at my home brew store. So we basically put together 2 cases and a 6-pack for, you know, around the $30 mark. So can't complain about that at all. And you know what? Honestly, if it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, it's a learning process. So what to do is just sit back, relax, and have a home brew. So later on next week, depending on how the upload goes and how the video editing goes, we'll do a little segment on how things are progressing. The dark ale, the West Coast IPA, and now the Mexican Cerveza, which I got to come up with a name with. So feel free to email me some suggestions on names. I'm all about that. So for now, it's cheers, prost, sláinte, and all the good stuff. Take care, everybody.